the steps for an incredible topic sentence, focusing on the acronym IDEA, IDEA. If we take this as an acronym for helping us memorize how to write an incredible topic sentence, then we're going to be able to introduce the main idea. I for introduce, D for develop. We're going to develop the main idea with the word because. E for explain the reasons or the evidence. And A, we're going to anchor it back to the thesis or the topic. So let me explain a little bit about what does this mean about anchoring the thesis. So this is really important for you if you're going to university and you want to write at an even higher level than IELTS. But this is something that's key to be able to make sure that you choose these ideas that are connected. Always your ideas should be connected to the question. If I can teach you one thing, is make sure you're answering the question. When you're writing in an exam, you should be thinking all the time, is this answering the question? Is this answering the question? Is this answering the question? So if I'm in your head saying this phrase over and over and over again, that's great. You want to be reminding yourself, make sure that what I'm writing is answering the question. It's very important. So, for example, the impact of technology on modern communication, we would choose a topic sentence maybe like this. Technology has revolutionized modern communication because it facilitates instant global connectivity, enabling individuals to exchange information and ideas across geographical boundaries with unprecedented ease. Okay, this is an example of a higher level IELTS sentence, showing off a little bit with some of these phrases, but I just wanted you to understand how to make an anchor. So the topic that we discussed on this one is about technology, modern communication. So our anchor is by highlighting how technology has transformed communication by enabling global connectivity. The topic sentence reinforces the main idea of the impact of technology on modern communication. Yes? So the question is about technology and it's on modern communication, and our idea in red mentions both of these key aspects of the question. Yes, the impact of technology on modern communication, and then we wrote very clearly that the technology has revolutionized modern communication, making sure that we anchor the thesis or the thought to the main question. Now we want to move on and identify the reason. How do we identify the reason? This is somewhere where I find that most students, when I'm trying to help them, find it very difficult to discover initially the reason. That's why in my classes, in my Fluency Clan classes, I always give reasons that potentially will help them to work out their thoughts on these kind of topics, because most students tend to approach these problems with surface level mindsets. They have surface level thinking, and this causes them to not find very good, deep, and important ideas connected to the theme of the essay. So how can we fix that? I've developed a technique that I teach my students called the curiosity dive technique. The curiosity dive technique helps us to discover what is actually beneath the surface of our ideas and understand the connections that lead to the important information, that lead to important ideas that we can discover throughout our writing. So the topic sentence is an opportunity to dig deeper into the problem or situation by asking why repeatedly. This deep dive technique is basically the 7 whys. We're going to ask multiple times the word why. We're going to go through our own thinking and give you an example of what that might look like to be able to ask why 7 times once you have your first idea. You're picking a clear idea at the beginning of your sentence, topic sentence, allows the reader to be able to identify the boat amongst the waves because of the confusion that will likely be in their mind based on the fact that the sea of ideas and the potential ideas that you might want to come up with can be extremely variable. So that means that you need to identify exactly the idea, which helps the reader identify exactly where the ship is on the ocean. And by doing that, you're going to help calm the waters for the reader, understanding that they're just about to explore this idea or this boat, and they're going to go into this topic in a deeper way. So how do we use an anchor? Is what's going to take us from the surface of the water down into the depth of the idea. But once we've calmed the waters with our main idea, then we add the because, and then the reason is going to be the anchor, which takes us deeper, and that anchor should be connected to the theme of the topic. Make sure it's part of the topic relevancy. So how do we identify this incredible reason? Here's an example of how to use the 7 whys deep dive technique. So for example, the problem, why greenhouse gas levels are increasing because of human activities. This might be your first idea. It's simple, but it's not very deep. It's a little bit on the surface. So we're going to ask why 7 times. I'm going to discover the deeper idea that will be much more useful in this example. So we're going to ask why. Why is human activities? Because fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas are burned for energy. Perfect. So we identified a further reason, but let's keep going. Keep asking why to find if we can find an even deeper reality. So because they are inexpensive. Why do we use fossil fuels? Because they're inexpensive and convenient for sources of energy. Okay. And why do we not use other types of energies? Well, because renewable energy sources like solar or wind require a lot of money and investment in technology or infrastructure. So that could be a reason why we don't use renewable energies and we're using fossil fuels. So now we have the idea, the anchor, and it's much further connected and chained back to the topic. So it's not just an idea loosely related, it's completely related. But let's keep going and see if we can continue the 7 whys to see if we can discover an even more clear idea. Why haven't policies been implemented to incentivize renewable energy adaptation? So why might we not have used yet renewable energies when we could invest in those infrastructures? Well, maybe it's because of political factors, such as lobbying from fossil fuels. So big industries don't want us to change from selling coal because they make a lot of money from this. So maybe that's to do with them battling this change in the government level. And that might be because there's a lack of awareness. Why have we not done anything to promote this type of change? It might be due to a lack of awareness about the severity of the climate change impact. And let's try one more why. And why there might be a lack of awareness? Could be because it's a global issue, meaning it's very difficult to have a consensus on the commitments that each country should have for reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. So basically, it's difficult because it's a global problem. And because it's a global problem, it's difficult to come to an agreement between countries. So this is the 7 why technique. So you just go through your first idea. You think of an idea. Why is this situation happening? You think of your first idea, and then you dive deeper on the topic by asking yourself why. Of course, in this situation, you can use tools and techniques like you can use Google. You can be searching online to find information. You can also use the AI tools like ChatGPT to discover these reasons more deeply. So that's part of what we learned in lesson 2, that remember, ideas are seeds. And we want to plant these seeds and begin to water them. So this questions of why will help you water the seeds that you've thought about and help these plants to grow so that you can understand deeper the issues that are taking place on all of the main IELTS topics. You don't have to understand every idea, but if you have the main IELTS common topics that come up in the exam and you understand the deeper understandings about why these things take place, like the problems of economic interests, like the problems of complexities in the political sphere of making consensus decisions with countries that have varieties of economic income, etc. This might give you an idea about why you can add your reason under the because section of the topic sentence. So you don't want to get lost. If you don't know any other ideas and the first idea comes to mind, then you use that idea in the exam, so don't get overwhelmed. But if you continue to practice this deep dive technique, then you're going to be able to discover interesting and incredible ideas that are going to help you in many different areas of life. Perfect. So if you're ready to sound like a genius, it's time for you to go and write essay number 5, focusing on the deep dive technique and writing a topic sentence with the structure of main idea, because, reason. See you in lesson number 6.